And maybe before I go back to standards and PMI, even this comment you made about matrix. How is it possible that with all the successes many of the world organizations have, that we still don't have that muscle developed working across organizational boundaries, with almost dismantling of what still remains to be, whether it's a mindset blocker, whether it's ways of working blocker, whether it's, totally missing the beat in terms of the empowerment and the dynamic ways of working that we have to have in our organization. So that's an entire point that we have to tackle. And I cannot believe execs and others don't make that one of their top strategic priorities. Luckily, I work with many execs who really get it and are trying their hardest to do that. Lots of things stand in the way sometimes of accomplishing that. Back to the standards and program and portfolio, etc. At the end of the day, the insanity aspect goes back to simple principles outside our field. A guy like Simon Sinek, why did that thought process succeeded so much with the why principle, starting with why? Why is that a big deal? Well, it's a big deal.
I thought it was pretty basic. I'm like, is that all he's got?
Exactly. So the reason it's a big deal in our world is that if you look at failure rates of these projects, right, and even programs, it's really around that core principle, which is, did you nail it in terms of why you're starting this? Did you really do enough in the business case and the positioning, et cetera, of these projects and programs to know better? So I'm saying there should be absolutely no difference in approaching something that has a beginning to an end, because it's really an investment. Yeah. Anytime I'm making a choice, which elevates that to the portfolio immediately, choices are the hardest part of the equation. Choices in this quote unquote project economy that many talk about for years now have to do with some basic principles of, we have, no matter what we like to believe, we have limited resources. We have priorities that we have to achieve. We've got to be, for a lack of a better word, ruthless in prioritization. And that prioritization distills itself into initiatives. Yeah. Some of them are going to be done. Some of them are going to interact. Some of them are dealing with other operational, competing demands. But at the end of the day, we got to look at this end to end. And that's the most important thing. And
this is the second time you've used the word end to end. A lot of people might have a vague concept what that means. Also, I think it really depends on what organization you're with. I know, for example, one of the clients that I work with, also a very large multinational company about the same size as Siemens, uses the word end to end, and it literally means a program manager for them. Is that how you guys use the word end to end?
Well, you would imagine with the size of the organization and still the varying levels of, maturity, still even in a construct of the organization, it's used so many different ways. Matter of fact, also, if you talk about it purely from a technology standpoint, it means something very different than looking at it from the lens of programs as well. Whether I use it or not, I think you used the word integration earlier, which is, again, could be interpreted so many different ways, whether we're talking about purely technology-wise or we're talking about it in terms of the integration you and I talk about within the portfolio and the program. My view, though, is that we have done a very good job thinking about customers. We've done an excellent job improving the investments we have in stakeholders and how we engage them, etc. We've done a very good job trying to distill the complexity down to a level of simplicity and so forth. So to me, end to end is really looking at what is the most fitting amount of rigor, discipline, focus, that allows me to achieve outcomes and value to customers, key stakeholders, right? And doing whatever it takes in between.